Hello and welcome back to another Smoke Signal synopsis. In this video, we'll be previewing what stories are in the November 1st, 2022 edition of the Smoke Signals newspaper. If you would like to read these stories in full now, you can find them at the PDF version available at smokesignals.org. On the front page, we attended the Grand Ron Health and Wellness Center's 25th anniversary on Friday, October 21st. We have photos and video from that event, which featured speeches and a canoe presentation made by tribal artisan Brian Crable. You can see more from that event on page 8. After 2 years of virtual gathering, the tribe's 39th annual restoration celebration will return this year in person on Tuesday, November 22nd, with doors opening at 11 a.m. Tribal members were required to RSVP by Monday, October 31st. You can read more about that event and its history continued on page 6. The Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde announced on Friday, October 28th, that it is endorsing Democrat Tina Kotek for Oregon governor. You can find more about that endorsement on page 2. During its Wednesday, October 26th meeting, Tribal Council approved applying for a U.S. Department of Energy grant. If received, it would fund the installation of 10 electric vehicle charging stations on the tribal campus over a 5-year period. You can read more about that and other actions from that meeting on page 5. 19 tribal members tried to challenge the November 2nd election voter list, but the Bureau of Indian Affairs, which runs the tribe's constitutional elections, reported that those challenges were unsuccessful. You can read that full report on the election on page 7. The Oregon Department of Education released its school and district report cards on Thursday, October 20th, which showed tribal students have rebounded since the COVID-19 pandemic and graduation rates are in line with those of the 2018-2019 school year. You can read more about that report and see the Smoke Signals graphic on page 9. This November 1st edition marks the beginning of American Indian and Alaska Native Heritage Month. Be sure to check out the graphic on important facts you should know during this month. Tribal historian and Oregon State University professor David Lewis was the first featured speaker for the nonprofit SIPs in Science series on Tuesday, October 19th. Our last story in this edition features Grand Ronde tribal elder Simone Auger, also known as my mom, has been selected for Arizona State University's Indigenous Leadership Academy Fall Cohort through the university's American Indian Policy Institute. You can read more about that cohort and her bio on page 12. On page 14, we have several walking on stories sharing the passings and life of tribal community members and tribal members. Our last story on page 18 announces the Oregon Department of Human Services will be holding a panel discussion at Willamette University about the importance of the American Child Welfare Act, also known as ICWA, on Wednesday, November 2nd at 1 p.m. And that was your Smoke Signal synopsis. You can find the entire paper now online at smokesignals.org or in the print edition coming to you soon. I'm Kamaya, the social media digital journalist for Smoke Signals.